Good morning. It's Monday again, and we're here. Yeah, my poison ivy is better. Um, the worst of it was right on this arm, but it's funny because it kind of popped up a lot of other places too, which is kind of weird. But this one that I got, the bad place, it looks like it was a scratch or something. So I have a feeling maybe it kind of got in and has sort of cropped up other places. It's definitely getting better, but it's going to take a little bit, I guess, till it's all gone. But it's crazy. I mean, I want to be mad, but it's also kind of amazing if you think about it, that plants are so ferocious in their protection of themselves. Uh, we tend to think of plants as very neutral, right? They don't, um, they just kind of are there, and things happen to them. But plants actually fight back pretty fiercely. They've got a lot of defense mechanisms um, to kind of uh, get themselves, um, you know, able to survive. And what I think is really interesting too about plants is that they keep on fighting, right? So even if you pick them, right, let's say, they still have things to keep going, right, to try to keep you, um, either something like poison ivy that has something that makes you itch and makes you remember not to touch that plant again, or other things. We know about a lot of, even the food that we eat has what they call anti-nutrients, right? So if we're eating them in large enough quantities or improperly prepared, they can actually be detrimental to your body. They can um, kind of interact with your digestion and cause you to have difficulties either digesting or um, just not thriving on that food product. So again, it's a careful balance between um, being able to sort of interact in the life cycle of these plants, but also not to destroy them, right? So, uh, and then there are some things meant to be destroyed, right? If you think about fruits and things that come from trees, um, they're so tasty and nice because they want something to consume that and then leave the seeds somewhere to make new plants. So um, we forget about this. I think we forget about our place in the cycle of all of this, and how active nature is in defending itself and um, you know asserting its place in the whole scheme of things. Um, so yeah, uh, there are times, and I think it's important to remember that there are times when um, we are reminded of our place in the scheme of things, that we tend to think of ourselves as the center of the universe, right? The most important thing. Um, and, to us, we are, I guess, right? Our needs and our um, desires are primary, right? When we are planning and doing things. But it's not a bad idea to be reminded now and then that there is a whole um, universe, right? That's kind of doing its own thing, that has nothing to do with you, that um, is really indifferent to your existence, which in some ways sounds scary, right? I mean, you are just a tiny speck of dust in the overall scheme of things, right? You're one star in a sky of millions and billions. But you know, again, that's one way to look at it, right? But the other way to look at it is that these things that we sweat over and struggle with are ultimately tiny. As much weight and stress and um, effort and what that we put into our worries and concerns, um, they really don't. They really won't make any difference, right? So that doesn't mean don't care about things, don't care about your life, but don't let it stress you out. Don't go over the other edge, right? Understand that um, we blow things out of proportion in our heads, right? Things are not um, as dire as they seem. Um, they are difficult, right? And challenging because appropriately so. Um, and we just keep going. Um, we don't always remember those things. We forget um, when we're in the midst of one struggle, one conflict or difficulty. We forget that we've already gone through 100 like these, 1,000 like these, successfully. We don't even remember, right? we don't even remember doing those things, right? They just were things that we had to go through. It's not bad to remember to cast your mind back. Um, we have short memories when it comes to this. We tend to get through our struggles and on to the next. But take a few moments to think about where you are and where you were a year ago, 2 years ago. What has changed? How much have you accomplished? And it doesn't have to be material things or um, things you can point to or touch. Um, it can be personal growth. It can be a way of feeling and thinking that is more effective now, is more useful to you. We have always said this, right, with yoga, that yoga is change. Yoga is the process of working through changes. Um, and it's putting these techniques that we have learned to use and um, using that to make our life work better. It seems simple, right? It's a simple thing to say. It's much more difficult to do, as you probably know. Um, but we get better at it as we go, I hope. Or maybe um, we get more understanding about how difficult it is. Um, when we are children and young people, I think we judge people harshly, right? We look at. I remember sort of being a young teenager, young adult, looking at older people, thinking, um, "What a what a what an idiot!" Right? you know, what are they doing? This is really, they made some really poor choices. Why aren't they doing better? Why aren't they this? Why aren't they that? Um, how have they gotten themselves into this situation? Right? As an adult, as a older person now, right? Um, I have more sympathy. I have more compassion because I know that this journey is long and difficult. And there are a lot of things that we struggle with that we um, need to overcome or at least learn to work with. One of the hardest things I think to understand and to get a handle on as an adult is the idea that there will be situations in your life that you simply must work with. It would be nice, and I mean, we read all this good stuff online about, changing your life, doing your own thing, charting your own path. And these are all true, right? But part of that sometimes means uh, getting through whatever situation you're in. We can't always just up and leave. We can't always pack our things and go when stuff gets hard. Um, that's not maybe your path. Maybe it is your path. I don't know. But if you have decided, right, that you are going to do something, that um, you are committed to this path that you're on, and you get to, a mountain that you need to climb, um, what can you do? Well, you could give up, you could go around, you could do something, but you may just find you need to climb that mountain. And it may take a long time. It may be a hard go. It may be a lot of work. Um, but remember, right? You're on this path. You've chosen this path. No matter how difficult it gets, it is your choice to be there or not be there. We always have the option to change our mind, but we also have the option to keep going. Um, and I think that's what we forget, is that it's okay to keep going, right? Sometimes it looks like you're not doing anything. Maybe you're just treading water. Maybe just keeping your head above water. That's what going through this means. Maybe it is a matter of time, right, that you need to put in to get through whatever it is you are in right now. Let that be. That's the thing that we can't see from the outside in other people's lives, right? What we see is maybe this person not doing what we think they should be doing. But in truth, they are doing just what they need to do. So, yoga is what we use to first find that self knowledge about what we need to do, what we want to do. Second, the tools to get through whatever it is, what challenge is thrown in our path. Um, because none of it will be easy, right? I think a lot of times people think following a path, following their inner voice, means their life will become so easy. It won't. But sometimes it will feel easy, right? That's that's what I try to remember, is that what I do feels right. Even if it's hard, even if it's the hardest thing of all, I know in my heart that it's right. I am doing good. I am doing what I need to do. I am living my truth, my authentic truth. And I don't know what that is for you. And you don't know what that is for me or for anyone else. That is something we, each and every one of us, need to discover on our own, in our own time. Um, that's what being a grown up is all about, right? So you think, I don't even want to be a grown up, right? Right? When you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait till I'm a grown up. And then you get to be grown up and you're like, oh, hell no. What's good about this? So much responsibility, so much work. And all of a sudden you realize nobody knows what they're doing, right? When you're a kid, you think, oh, okay, adults have this all figured out. Somebody's in charge, right? I mean, somebody is knowing what to do. You grow up and you realize nobody has any idea what we're supposed to be doing. Some people, some people have some better ideas than others, but nobody knows for sure. And that uncertainty drives people crazy, right? I mean, that's the uncertainty that we struggle with. Um, but it can be a prison or a paradise. It's your choice, right? You can be trapped by the fear of the uncertainty, or you can be energized by the flexibility of that uncertainty. Um, Same situation, it's just a different way of looking at it. So um, let's be excited about our possibilities and use, the yoga tools to help you steer your way. Um, I think of yoga as not really, a highway, right? So you could, we talk about a path, right? And a path makes sense. It's a good thing, right? You're on this path. You can think of yoga as maybe a map, right? It's not really GPS because it's not telling you where to go, right? It's a map. Maps. Do you remember maps? Everybody should remember maps, right? You looked at it, but you didn't have to look at it. It wasn't going to tell you where to go. It was just a chart, right? So many possibilities. You could go any different way. The map would show you where you might end up, right? But it didn't make you do anything. It didn't say, hey, I'm recalculating now. Um, there were endless possibilities. So think of yoga as your map. Um, you get to choose which route you navigate. Maybe you want to go the highways. Maybe you would rather be on the back roads. I don't know. It's your choice. But whatever you choose, remember that there are going to be breakdowns, right? Your car's going to have a flat tire. You're going to run in a ditch sometimes. Um, you're going to lose your map, right? For a while, it might fly out the window, and then you'll find it later, or you buy another one, right? Nothing is going to solve these problems. All we can do is learn how to cope with them in the most effective way. And that's it. Right? Good morning, Gwen, and good morning, Susan. Yeah, I'm back. Um, so I haven't heard anything more about the Garfield Park classes, but I'm assuming that everything is going on schedule. As I know more, I will know more before they just expect us to show up there. But who knows? You know, uh, things are always changing, right? So we're just going to be flexible. Okay, let's move around a little. Um, let's just sit and breathe for a few minutes. Shoulders back. Steady with breath. In through the nose, back out through the nose. I probably don't need to remind you that we're allowing this belly to relax and expand a bit with the breath, but maybe I do need to remind you. Right? Sometimes we forget. Take a few moments to notice what's happening with your deep breath. Are your shoulders coming up? If shoulders are coming up, you're probably, it won't be that exaggerated, but you're probably holding a lot of tension down here. So you're actually having to lift this upper body to expand the lungs. What we want is to have this be nice and relaxed and expand down in the belly area. This can be difficult, right? We tend to hold this area in, hold it very stationary. But we want flexibility. We want to be able to move through that space. And part of what we do with yoga is we work on this core area, which is so important for upright strength, for just stability in the body. Um, but we work on it in all ways, right? We work on it just through the movements and also through the sort of what I call maybe anti-movements, right? The relaxations, the awareness, and that's one of the important things about, I think, this core area is being aware of what's happening. Um, if you aren't aware of what muscles are activating or deactivating, right, as we relax, you are going to have a hard time engaging them when you are working through the poses. So awareness is that first step, and then activation sort of as we're doing different things. And then we're just going to go back to a regular breath. Drop the chin down toward the chest. Then keep lifting chin, head drops back. Back to center, take a breath. Move the head to the right. And then back up, moving left. And then back up. Gotta move back here. Let's bring soles of the feet together. Sitting tall, shoulders back, take a deep breath. Lean forward. Come on back up, both legs out in front. Point and flex the feet. Rotate through the ankles. One way and the other. Take a deep breath, arms overhead, fold forward. Come on back up. Let's bring the arms wide. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, hands together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Interlace the fingers, lift the hands. And then arms down by your side. Lift the shoulders, roll back. Roll forward. Left hand on right knee, right arm behind. Sit tall. Take a deep breath. Twist. Back to center. Switch sides. And twist. Back to center. Tabletop. Let's do a few sets of cat-cow. So we are dropping the belly down, lift the head. That's your inhale. Exhale, reversing this. Press down, lift up. Inhales and exhales. We're back to neutral, and then sitting back on the heels. We're going to extend, I don't know how you were doing this. You might have had the arms by your side, or you could be resting the fist, but we're going to extend that left arm out, and we're going to bring the right arm back. So we're kind of twisting a little bit. And then switch. Back to center. If you haven't done this, well, even if you had, just stack the fist, rest the forehead. Come on back up. Tabletop to downward dog. Moving forward to high plank. Let's hold here for a breath or two. And then drop your knees, lower all the way down. Head to the right, arms by your side. Bring your head back to center. We're going to leave the arms where they are, but flip the palms. We're going to be lifting up, head and chest, and then arms and legs. And come on down. So when you're lifting the legs, if you find that your legs are cramping, try not to point the toes, right? There's a lot of times in different poses that we do that we have this tendency to point the toes, right? This is not always a great thing. You can feel that kind of activates some areas of the leg that can feel kind of cramping. The best way to handle that is to just try to relax the foot, right? So you're lifting the leg, but the foot is quite relaxed. Or even Foot can even be flexed, right? A little bit. See how that works for you. You don't have to point toes. And I know for some people, for me, it definitely it doesn't feel great. So however you work with that is fine. We're gonna turn to the left now. Back to center. Setting up for Sphinx. We got those elbows right under the shoulders. Press down with the palms. Feet a little wider on the mat. And we're pressing down, squeezing the shoulders back. Steady gaze. And back down. Set your chin on your hands. Relax here. Or you can set the forehead on the hands if that feels better. And then let's make our way back up. Tabletop to downward dog. Step the feet up. And then we're down to a seat on the mat. Let's bring the soles of the feet together again. Sitting tall, another fold. Back up. Let's lift the knees. We're going to catch a hold of the toes. Too close to the thing here. Lean back so you feel balanced and steady. And then there'll be some extension. Halfway or all the way. Your pick. You can stay here. If you're feeling steady and you want a little more challenge, maybe bring the legs wide. Take a pick. This is bear pose. I know you've probably seen, see, I'm laughing, I can't hold the pose. You've seen pictures of bears holding their feet like this. And then bring everything back down to the mat. Soles of the feet to the mat, lowering down or rocking back. Get comfortable on the mat. Take a few breaths. We're going to bring the right leg in. We're hugging it in. So when we do this pose, I really suggest that you try to get the hands underneath the leg rather than trying to hold on to the shin. It's okay to do this as long as you can get that leg very close to you and you're not feeling a lot of pressure. But a lot of times when people have trouble bringing that leg in and they're holding here, they're actually putting a lot of pressure on the knee area. So better that we try to kind of draw in from under the leg. It's just a more stable way to be. That knee joint is a point of great flexibility, but also, right, flexibility means instability. And we don't want to make that any more stressed out or unstable than it already is, right? Let's reverse here, and then we're doing the opposite leg. And both legs down again, this time right ankle on left knee. So we might just be here if this right hip's so tight, right? Or this may be enough. We may feel like that's a lot of stretching, a lot of movement in that right hip. If not, then we're bringing that other leg in. Switch around. Whatever we did on one side, we will be doing on the next. This may mean that sometimes you are doing less on one side than you would be capable of, simply because the other side hasn't caught up yet. That's okay. Stick to what that side that's a little tighter, a little less flexible, stick to what that side can do, and eventually you will encourage, hopefully, that side along to make things more balanced as we go. And then let's bring both feet down to the mat, extend the legs, arms out to a T for 5-pointed star. Let's just take a few breaths here. So ultimately, one of the big goals with asana is to balance out the body, right? To try to make up for some of the inequities that we have inherent in the body. I'm sorry. This could be things that we have from use, just from habitual use. Maybe we are heavily right-handed or heavily left-handed, and so everything we do really develops that right-hand side so much. It could be from an injury, right? A lot of times if we have an injury, you are favoring that side, maybe sort of babying that side, and the other side ends up taking a lot of the weight and the pressure make up for, right? When we have injuries, our body's compensating all the time to try to sort of make up for that. It could also be just something inherent to your body. My father had one leg that was a full inch and a half longer than the other, which caused him no end of difficulties with his hip area, his spine. He had, lifts in his shoe on one side. There were a lot of things that he had to do to try to compensate for that. So it could be that you have some inherent imbalances just in the way your body is structured. We are working to do what we can to balance everything as much as we can. But no, just like everything in life, it's not always equally balanced or evenly balanced. Sometimes things go one way or the other. So we have to be flexible and adapt. Let's bend the knees again, heels down to the ground. Let's walk them back toward the body. We're going to do one regular bridge, one supported bridge. So you got a block. I mean, you don't have to. You could do 2 bridges too if you don't have a block. Or if you don't want to, I mean, that's up to you. We're going to press down with the hands and the feet. Breathe. Then lower down. Just touch down for a breath or two. And then we're back up. Find a place where that block feels comfortable and relax. Let your body sort of drape over the block. Come on back up. We're taking the block out, resting back on the mat. Move soles of the feet together. Take a few breaths. Bring the knees together. Rock a little bit. Then bringing knees to the right. And moving knees to the left. Back to center. Extend the legs. Hands by your side. And then lowering. We're resting on the mat. Relaxed. Breathe. Moving into Shavasana. So Shavasana is this place of total relaxation, focusing on the breath and the sensation in the body, but allowing your mind to be empty, to be relaxed. Nothing we need to do, nowhere we need to go, just exist. This is our state of natural being, our state of existence. This is our, I hate to say highest form, but it is our highest form. This is our simple being, the simple existence of the self. You are perfect. You are beautiful. You are unique, but also the same, right? Um, you share this self with everyone. We all are a part of this bigger, big S self, right? We're just little pieces. Um, and when we're all put together, we're this beautiful whole. Any separation between us and others is just an illusion. It's a construct, right? It is it is because of how we are in a physical form, right? In our physical forms, we look different. We are different, right? Our bodies look different. We are separate, right? We are each and every separate person, but within we are the same. We are all one. We're all part of the same thing. So it's a big idea, but it's also so simple. The simplest idea of all. When you're ready, moving a bit, maybe fingers and toes, hands and feet, moving your way up into a seat. Let's bring hands together. Take a breath in and a breath out. Thank you for coming to the mat for some yoga and for sharing it with me. I hope you have a lovely Monday. Namaste. Great. So, this idea, right, that we all are complete and whole as this self within is an important one, because I think we get so caught up with this outside stuff, with the things we have, the job we have, the things we buy. None of those things make any difference. You don't need any of those things. They're nice. You may enjoy them. They're fun, right? They're an accomplishment, whatever, but you don't need any of those things. You are enough. Just in that little self, that little spark of life, you are perfect. Um, all of the other things are just stuff that we do, right? Don't let them bring you down. Don't let them puff you up. Let them just be what they are. And you be what you are, which is that shining, perfect self within. No matter what you do or don't do, it doesn't matter. The self is perfect. It's a big idea. And I think we forget it so much. But it's so important. It's so important. So when you're feeling unsure or insecure, remember, you are perfect with Him. So pay attention there. Don't worry about this other stuff. All right, let's get in for a little meditation. Connect with that perfect self, the perfect everything self, right? We'll jump in that pool for a few minutes and swim around, see how it feels. All right, so we're sitting comfortably. My husband is bugging me about getting a pool. He wants a pool. I had a pool growing up. It was nice, but it also was a pain in the neck. And I know as a kid, there were summers that we barely used it. My poor dad's out there cleaning all the time. I don't know. I'm gonna get him a wading pool, like a baby pool. He can have that. That would be good. All right, so comfortably seated, relaxed, maybe in a chair. Hey, that's fun too. Just a different way to do it. You got to figure out what works for you, right? Everybody's got their own style of meditation. Maybe that'll be great for you. I don't know, but don't be afraid to try some different things. Try some different ways of sitting. Try a different way to visualize. Um, See how it works. Different times of your life, things will work differently. You know, it's I've never met someone who couldn't meditate, but a lot of times you've got to try some different things that work. Okay, coming back. Here we are. So I think I said before we started that I never met anyone that couldn't meditate. Right? I've met a lot of people who think they can't. I've met a lot of people who don't think it works for them, who think they aren't doing it right or whatever. But in truth, anyone can do this. Um, you're not always going to feel accomplished at it. You're not always going to feel like you're getting it. That's not the point, right? We are getting better at it. We are practicing. We are learning the way, just like any other journey. Every time you go, you learn it better. Um, the first time, it's very unfamiliar, but as you keep going back and back and back, you start to understand how it works. You start to understand the path. You see the obstacles. You know where the speed traps are, or the bumps in the road, or the side roads that could get you there quicker or could get you lost. We work on this, and we get better. But even a really, really experienced meditator has bad meditation days, has days where they cannot stay focused, has days where that mind is taking over. Um, but you just keep trying, you just keep going back. Sometimes you're going to have a great session, sometimes you're not going to have a great session, sometimes it'll be up and down. It's variable, just like everything in life and yoga and everything. Don't expect perfection, right? You don't expect it in your practice. You don't expect it in your life. I hope you don't expect it in your life. Don't expect it in your meditation either. Um, you you get, I hate to say better, because you get more skilled in navigating, but the blocks will always be there. Those you know rocks and things will always be there. You just get better at dealing with them. You get better at avoiding them. You know the tricks that work for you to get you into that meditation state of mind. Um, and the only way you learn that is by practice, right? You get better as you go. So don't think you're going to sit down and immediately experience, nirvana. Maybe you will, I don't know, but don't expect it. Um, expect to just let it be what it is, and let it unfold for you, and um, don't worry about it. Don't take it so seriously. It's it's a nice thing. It's not a serious thing. It's not a thing to worry about or to stress about. It is. It is enjoyable. It is something to be enjoyed. It is to explore it. Just explore it. See what happens. Um, yeah. All right. Have a good Monday. Be back tomorrow.